Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you are. Hope you are well rested and have had a really good night's sleep, and hope that you're just feeling better. And today is another day, isn't it? It's beautiful sunshine here in Geneva. The skies are blue. I've already been out this morning to go shopping to get some food. Luckily, there were only 3 people in the queue, which was amazing. I was so delighted. I did, however, forget mayonnaise, which is a real pain because obviously I've got to go shopping again. But I'll find a small shop in town which makes life easier. So, yeah, welcome and good morning to you all this morning. I'm really getting used to doing these. I'm actually quite enjoying them. I never thought I would. So, yeah, good morning to all of you. I hope that you've had a really nice, good, deep sleep and feel well rested. Excuse me. I've spoken to a few people recently who said they've not been sleeping. So if you do have problems, just try a magnesium supplement. It usually works very, very, very quickly. I bought myself a vitamin supplement a couple of weeks ago. There's magnesium and things in there. And that's made a huge difference. I'm sure it has. I do tend to eat lots of fruit and veg, and I think at this time we need to keep ourselves healthy anyway. But having said that, I think we need to keep ourselves healthy anyway, regardless of the coronavirus. So, yeah, another start to another day. As far as I know, it is Thursday. The days all seem to be melding into one in one way, shape or form. So I don't know, I know over Easter I didn't do the FaceTime live, and I know the weekend before I kind of had some time off. If you really want me to do them at the weekend, then that's fine, it's not a problem. I don't mind at all. I'll be putting some inspirational posts up on there anyway. I usually kind of think of something to put up there. I was going to put a piece of music up there today, Cliff Richard's Summer Holiday, but thought about it and maybe thought differently. But it's interesting because especially now I'm kind of back in the land of working again. Not that I wasn't working when I was with Bapa Manku in Bali, because I was working healing the land and healing the people, but it's kind of nice, you know, even though obviously just doing the sessions via Skype at the moment. I never thought I would do that, you know, but and these things need to be done, and I'm going to have to get over a lot of my phobias. I think a lot of them have actually gone, of working with IT. You know, certainly the first time I did a FaceTime live, I wasn't quite sure how to do it. My friends Daz and Emma helped me. But, you know, at the end of the day, our fears hold us back, don't they? False energy appearing real. And I know, obviously, goodness me, the amount of fears that have held me back in this lifetime have been horrendous. Just slightly going off on one. I do remember my Reiki master saying to me years and years ago, when I was just starting out on the Reiki journey, I trained in Reiki in 2002, 2003. I mean, obviously I've been a natural healing forever, but I actually didn't know that I was a natural healer. Being brought up Catholic, I just knew I was balancing energy, but I wouldn't have called myself a healer. But hey ho. I always remember Diane saying to me, you're going to achieve something in this lifetime that you've failed to do many, many, many times. And I had no idea what she was talking about. But it was interesting when I was working with the medicine man in Bali, because working with him, we got to, Bapa Manku wanted to get me to level 9. And I got to level 7, and then there was a lull for about 2 months, and I really at that time felt very challenged, and I was kind of thinking, oh, I'm going back home to England, I've had enough, I'm missing my granddaughters, you know. When you've got 2 little 6-year-olds who are on the phone, when are you going back, Grandma? When are we going out for a hot chocolate and some cake? When are we going to feed the ducks? It's a real challenge. I am glad I stuck with it. My friend Phil helped me a lot, and my friend Tony, and I did stick with it, obviously, and completed level 9, and I actually got to level 11. But I was just thinking this morning, and I always think that it's important to be in the flow. I mean, I do make notes, and I kind of think about what might come up, and if a few of you have got problems sleeping or different things are coming up through private messages or private sessions, there's usually a theme. We were taught as homeopaths to always be aware of, you know, what people are bringing to us. It's not that, you know, it's all about me. It's about what the people are bringing, because there's something that's reflecting back to me. And one of the big things that's come up recently was trust. And my friend Peter has asked me to write book 6, which is all about my learnings with Bapa Manku and doing the healing and doing the earth healing and working not just with the land but the people as well, and the elementals and many of the you know, spirits of the land and things. And excuse me, one of the big things for me, and I know many of you know me personally, one of the big things for me is I do so much energy work naturally without even thinking about what I'm doing. I just do it. I've automatically tuned into the energies or felt a disharmony or an unbalance, and without realising, I already start correcting it. Somebody might mention a name and say, my sister's not well, do you think you can send healing? And I've already tuned into the sister and asked or it's very difficult. So it's a real challenge, and I'm not going to lie to you, because Pete asked me within a few days of me actually getting into Geneva, and I just thought, how the heck am I going to do this? And I sat with it and I thought, it's fear. The only thing that's blocking me is fear. And I sat with it some more and I thought, well, I'm going to have to do it, because I know I have to, because it's right. And I know it's going to be a challenge, but I have to rise to the challenge. And I must say, we are allowed out here. Self-isolation is recommended, but we can go in the park as long as obviously we take 2 meters apart. And, you know, I'm sensible when I go out, but to be honest, with the propaganda and everything else, I'm not going to go off on one, but I think it's all been hyped up. Anyway, so I sat in the park and I with me pen and paper and I just brainstormed it. And yet there's been a resistance and a reluctance to actually type it out. So I thought, right, what can I do rather than what can't I do, okay? So I thought, right, well, I can write the introduction. I can write maybe the dedication. I can make notes. And as I've been kind of putting pen to paper, jotting it down and writing it in, you know, on the laptop and everything, I've got about 6 sides of A4 to type up. But as I started doing it this morning and faced the fear, which I'm not going to lie to you, it wasn't easy, I just thought, you know what, just do it. There's a beautiful book by Sue Jeffers, I'm not sure if any of you have read it, Face the Fear and Do It Anyway. And I kind of got to thinking, because obviously I try and do these at a regular time every day so that you guys know when I'm on. And equally, if that time doesn't suit you, let me know. I can be quite flexible, you know. I'm on self-isolation, so we're all in the same boat, aren't we? But joking aside, I kind of thought, the only thing I'm going with here is trust. Because at face value, this is going to be tough for me, you know. explaining what black magic is, explaining how to balance the energies in your house, explaining something that comes so naturally to me that to kind of break it down step by step. I think that one of the best explanations I can give you is, if any of you have watched the film, Robin Williams with, oh my goodness, and he can also play the piano, and he doesn't know how he can play, he just does it. And trying to break it down when you just know how to do it, you know, all of you guys will have a skill. You may be a good chef, you might be able to grow in the garden that will grow tremendously beautifully. You might be able to dance like I can't dance. You may be able to do something that's amazingly coordinated. You may be able to play the flute that I can't do. And sometimes we just have to rise to the challenge, but also we have to go with acceptance. Anyway, while I was kind of brainstorming this morning, I kind of thought, okay, what does this really come down to? And one of the big words that came up was trust. Because, you know, when you're doing FaceTime 5 days a week, you're looking for inspiration, and I'm here to inspire you guys, keep you positive, because actually by keeping you positive, it keeps me positive. So you're helping me in the great scheme of things. It also gives a purpose to the day. You know, I always think of like the older people. I always remember my grandparents, and they've both gone now, but they'll never leave me in here, you know. And every day Grandma would cook, and she would make her own red cabbage, pickle it, and make her own pickles, and look after her garden. Grandad every day went for a walk in Worden Park. And in the afternoon, they would always play Scrabble. They would always do something to entertain the brain. And a few of you know I do like Scrabble. I noticed a very dear friend of mine, Dawn, is watching, and her beloved used to absolutely whoop my ass at Scrabble every time. I think I managed to win once or twice, and we were in stitches laughing, and I didn't cheat, I assure you. But joking aside, what is it that trust really is? You know, do we just trust that we can be a better person every day? Do we just trust that if we start something, we're going to finish it? And, you know, when I look back at the many things that I've started, most of them are finished. I haven't finished everything because I don't think we ever do. I think that's in the scheme of things for our learnings. But when we can become more mindful, and it's back to meditation, and I know that I've mentioned meditation many, many, many times, but when you meditate, you kind of become more aware of what thoughts are just going on in the brain without them going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And once you become more experienced with meditation, because I kept saying medication yesterday, you become more aware of the emotions. And of course, when you split the word emotion, emotion, like Einstein, E equals mc squared. So emotion is energy in motion. And the more you have emotions, the more that will bring to you, depending what emotion it is. So if it's fear, you're going to bring more fear. If it's trust, you're going to bring more trust. And of course, when I first met Bapa Manku, there was a huge trust between us. Now, I know that some of you won't understand this, some of you will, some of you know me and get it. But when I met him, I knew that he knew who I was. He knew that we were meant to meet. And he knew without question that I was a psychic and a healer. And I had no idea that he was going to be my teacher at that time. I just knew that I had to meet him. But I'd had that awareness from the first time when I read about him, and I thought, I've got to meet this healer. I don't know what's going to come of it, but I've got to follow it. And one of the biggest things in all the teachings that I've done, all the workshops, in all of my books, everything, is about coming back to you. It's about you finding your trust. And I know for me, way back when, well before I did Tai Chi, well before I became really more spiritually aware, looking at the spiritual laws of karma and dharma, looking at the yin and the yang, even before I was aware of past lives and things like that, one of the things when the children were little was I always got them to look at their intuition and to listen to their intuition. And how often do we actually trust our intuition? How often do we trust the people around us? How often do we trust that, it's time to give up this job, or it's time to move forward, or it's time to trust, a new partner, or that can be a business partner, it can be a relationship partner, of course. But if we learn to trust our intuition more, and if we learn to trust our emotions more, then surely life's going to work better. So when I met Bapa Manku, I just trusted that it was right for me, and obviously it was. Equally, when my guides told me in January, because my visa for Bali was running out in February, and my guides had already said, you're not meant to be here anymore. Your work's done. I didn't want to hear it because I loved Bali. I couldn't bear the thought at that time of leaving my teacher, of leaving Wayan, of leaving father, of leaving Aji and many of the people that I worked with. And I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know whether I was going back to England. My friend had invited me to Canada, and all I had was trust. For those of you that don't know, I was very poorly in December. I had typhoid, and I was ill for a couple of weeks, and then after that just really needed to convalesce. So I went up in the mountains, and that was a trust as well, because I just knew that I had to be in a sacred space, just in Mother Earth, just in nature. So I followed the intuition, I followed the trust, and I managed to find this amazing homestay, which was cheap as chips. The food was all handmade. The accommodation was absolutely incredible. For the price, it was just beautiful. The room was spotlessly clean. The bedding, everything was just amazing. It had a beautiful balcony overlooking the mountain and overlooking the trees. And I met some wonderful people there. Now, all I did was go with trust. And then within 2 or 3 days, I just sent this kind of prayer, affirmation, call it what you will. All of you know, I think that I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. But I kind of sent this prayer up, and I just said, will you just show me where I need to go? Because I do not know. I'm going to have to make big decisions, and I've got to make the time to say goodbye to the people that have become very close to me. Now, when you're a traveller, I know some of you have travelled, I know that a few of you watching I've actually travelled, I've had the privilege of travelling with you. But when you travel, you actually find that you do learn to trust strangers. And certainly having experienced the joy of seeing my 2 sons and my daughter-in-law in Bali, which was amazing. They've learned to trust strangers. Matthew left for Australia over 6 years ago on his own. And the courage that it took him to do that was incredible. And then obviously Phil left 4.5 years later. But trust is a really big thing. And when you really do have to trust somebody, and I know some very, very dear friends of mine, Sulis and Nigel, looked after me when I was poorly, taking me to the hospital for the blood tests and everything, because I certainly wasn't fit to go on my own. Did I trust them? Absolutely I did. Did I trust them with my life? Yes, I did. And that's a big thing for me to trust. I usually go with my intuition, because I can see the energy field, and I know I've taught a few of you to see energy fields, and obviously usually the lighter, the brighter, the more beautiful that person is. And someone who's dark, it may be they're just poorly, that they're dark because they are depressed, or they're just going through something. It can be a temporary thing. It may be that they're just, not very aware or very closed. When people close the heart centre, it's kind of, you put barriers up, and that in itself can create a darkness in the energy field. So I'm not saying we have to be open, and so open that we, are very naive with that. But, I'm the first to say that I have been naive in my life, for goodness sake. That's how we learn. But do we let the naivety that we have, sour everything? Because we can't trust one person doesn't mean that we can't trust 20 people. And everything is a choice. Every day we make thousands of choices. So this morning, when I was kind of brainstorming the book and thinking, right, I'm going to do this. Even if I just write one word today, it's progress. If I write 100, it's really good progress. Because I know in myself, I can usually do about 1,000 words an hour, maybe 1,500 an hour and a half. But then my brain's cabbaged. I've had so much experience writing now that I have to know myself when I've had enough. And I think all of you out there, even in a working environment, you work and then you have a break. If you're a teacher, then the kids go out to play and then you have a break. And we need to sometimes just be easy with ourselves, because how many times do we think, right, well, I'm just going to strip the wallpaper off this room today, or I'm going to carve this out of stone or out of wood, and it will be done today. But why can't we be easy with ourselves and just say, well, I'm going to do a little, then I'm going to rest, and then I'm going to do a little, and then I'm going to rest. And as I've said many times before, Rome was not built in a day. And when we self-sabotage ourselves, I'm not good enough, or this should have been finished by now, or why is it not done, or blah, 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 blah. Because the ego mind is just so capable of driving us to distraction. But again, it's back down to meditation. Do we allow the ego mind to, self-sabotage ourselves? Because one of the big things is, when we become our own best friend, we find that we can become more patient with ourselves. We find that we can nurture ourselves more. We find that we eat more healthy, we drink more healthy. We usually listen to the body, and it may be that we go to bed when we're tired instead of waiting till whatever time in the morning. But equally, if you get up late, then that's fine. But it's all about finding balance. We talk about a balanced diet, we talk about a balanced lifestyle, balancing body, mind and spirit, balancing, different parts of our lives, a working life, the old Mars bar advert, work, rest and play. So I invite you today to find balance. Have a look at your diet. Is your diet balanced? Are you spending maybe too much time on the TV or on the computer? Are you doing a bit in nature? Excuse me. I do appreciate some of you are on real lockdown. As I said, we're on self-isolation here. I go in the park because it would really, really kill my soul if I had to be in the apartment all day. As much as I love it, it's not me. I need to be in nature. And the temptation of the lake and the mountains here would be far too much for me anyway. But that comes down to self-awareness and self-knowing. So even if you pack a picnic and get in the garden, for goodness sake. A beautiful friend of mine yesterday said that her nephews and nieces had been given a tent by a neighbour. I mean, what a blessing at this time. I was just so moved. I was nearly in tears. I just thought, what joy those children can have being in the tent. And it's a big one. She sent me a photograph. And I thought, how amazing, Kids can go and play out. They can go and do dressing up and different things. And I just think there's so much joy with children. You look at children, they trust us completely. When my children were learning to walk, if you hold their hands, they trust that you've got them. If they're going to learn to swim, they trust that you've got their back, that you are going to be able to, take care of them. They're not going to sink. They're not going to drown. And how many times have you trusted somebody with the right knowing and the right intuition, and it's been okay? And how many times have you thought, oh, I don't want to trust them? There's a difference. I don't want to trust them. Not knowing that you can trust them. That's the difference. Of course, if you say, I can't trust somebody, that's what you're going to create. But the more you learn to trust yourself, of course, the more you're going to create environments where you can trust, and you can trust more and more and more and more. And again, back to quantum physics, the more you learn to trust, the more trust you're going to get. And the more people are going to trust you as well. Because we've all had times when maybe not through an intention we've let somebody down, or we've said, yeah, we'll go out for a meal on Friday, and for whatever reason you've not been able to go. And we've all let people down, as horrible as that is, either intentionally or unintentionally. But equally, when we bring forgiveness into the mix, because if we hold the guilt and the shame and whatever you want to call it, betrayal, which is a very powerful emotion, the question to ask yourself is this serving me? Because I know when I've had guilt and shame and feelings of betrayal before, it's not really served me, but it has been something that I've had to work through some more. And obviously with the healing, it's like an onion. We talk about healing and peeling the layers. So my challenge for you today is, if you've got a journal, if you've not got a journal, just get pen and paper, but write down, where are your biggest challenges with trust? Is it in relationships? Is it with trusting yourself? Is it with trusting that you can finish a goal or a task? I'm not asking you to get in the blame game. He did that, she did that. That's nonsense. This is about you, because the more you learn to trust yourself, the more forward you're going to go. If you keep going over the same old, we talked about staying in our stories. Well, she hurt me, he hurt me, that went wrong, I had an accident, this happened to me, that happened to me. Then guaranteed you're going to stay in the story. Until you open the petals of your heart to bring forgiveness, and forgiveness to yourself for being in the story. I was in my story for many years because I thought it was normal. And then one day I just thought, I don't want to do this anymore. And, when I had the chronic fatigue syndrome for almost a year, and you have so much time when you're just not well, you don't know if you're going to get well, you don't even know if you're going to, ever work again, or you're going to lose your house because you can't pay the mortgage, not to mention the fear of possibly losing the children as well. I had to just find that courage within to keep going. And it's not easy. It really, really isn't easy when your back's against a wall. Did I trust what was on the other side? I don't know. I just kept going. I just got my head down. So have you had to have times in your life where you've had to battle through with courage? Have you had times in your life where you've had to find the inner trust, even if it was a real challenge? Have you had times in your life where you have trusted your intuition, and what's been on the other side has been far better and far more amazing than you ever thought possible? So that's the thought for the day on trust. Because, if we learn to trust more, then we will attract people who trust us, and then from them we can learn how they've trusted themselves, and the wheels on the bus just keep going and going and going and going. So, when I choose one of the many cards, this one is the one I chose today, about success and completion. And I'd already decided what I was going to talk to you about today. And, how often do we trust that we are going to complete things? My son is a joiner, and he trusts that he can complete projects and, build a staircase or whatever he's doing. My other son works in security, and he trusts himself and he trusts his intuition because he has to. You know, all the time he was working in security, you would think, that's a dodgy character. No, you're not coming in the pub or the bar or the restaurant, but listening to his intuition. And my other son works with autistic children and special needs, and he trusts his intuition all the time. I mean, he does see auras as well, so, you know, maybe that's an added bonus. And my daughter trusted herself that she would complete a nursing degree, and she did. And, you know, she trusts herself that she can deal with a patient. She knows she's challenged, but she does. So, you know, when I'm with my granddaughters, just encouraging them to just trust that they can learn to ride the bike or play on the trampoline or, you know, play the music. If they're playing on the, I'm trying to think of the word, like a mini organ, you know, they just have to trust they can do it, or they're going to learn a dance, or they're going to learn the words. They're going to do a beautiful picture, you know. It may not look like a giraffe if they've drawn a giraffe, and that's why it's always good to ask a child, tell me about the picture, because you don't say that it's a horse or something else when it's not. But just take a while to think about the people who have given you trust, even if there's a duality. Maybe they've given you trust, maybe they've also taken trust away from you in some way, shape or form. But that's for you to kind of work out where you stand on that divide. Do you want to focus on mistrust, or do you want to focus on trust? Think about, and this is an ideal time, to complete projects that you want to do or you feel you want to do. It's not about berating yourself or saying, I should have done that, We will all do that. You know, I could write you a long list of things I should have done, could have done, didn't do. But let's look forward. And the more we concentrate on the drama karma, on the nonsense, on staying in the story, on the blame game, guess what? It will keep you stuck. It sucks. As I say, you know, I mastered it. I did it for far too long. But none of us are perfect. That's how we learn. But I'll read you today's kind of card. There is no success without completion. I am a work in progress. Every one of you out there is a work in progress. You know, I mean, obviously Buddha made it. He was an enlightened master. Christ was an enlightened master. There are enlightened masters out there. Not very many, but they do exist. All we can do is find our own way to the trust and learn to trust ourselves. Learn to understand how we have evolved with issues of trust, and concentrate on focusing on trust. Concentrate on focusing that, you know, this kind of lockdown, self-isolation will eventually come to a close and that everything will be all right, because it will. Of course it will. It can't go on because it can't. We don't know what's on the other side. But I assure you that if we face this with trust and with love and wisdom, we will come through. If you want to face it with fear, then, you know, you're going to focus on the fear. It's kind of like when you're in love, you see everything through rose-coloured glasses. You don't see the fault with the person you're in love with. And then eventually over time, you start taking the rose-coloured glasses off and you can see the person for who they really are. But if we can have somebody that we trust right from the beginning, in a relationship, in a working relationship, in a business partnership, if we learn to trust ourselves, if we learn to work with our intuition rather than ignoring it, because I know for a fact when I've ignored mine, I have really got my fingers burnt. Of course, I ignore mine despite being psychic and all the rest of it. I'm human. And that is the challenge for all of us, to be human, to be kind, to be honest with ourselves. Anyway, that's today's challenge for you. So, this is the card with the kind of picture on the front about completion. Do you begin projects and yet you never seem to complete them? Are you afraid of success? The completion of goals encourages you to review what you've done, to learn from it and to build on it. You can then feel proud and confident, ready to embark on manifesting your next goal. In order to win a race, you need to first begin it and to complete it. Reaching the finishing line is essential. There is no success without completion. And every day, I've got about 50 of these cards, and every day what I do, I just flick through them, and I just allow, that one actually flew out this morning, and I just allow them to kind of come to me. So again, that's a simple art of trust. I know many of you have got, I'm not talking about tarot cards because I don't use them, I never have done. But many of you have got the Rumi Oracle cards by Alana Fairchild, or maybe the Isis Oracle cards. There are many out there. And they just help you through the day, and sometimes you can have a thought for the day, or you may have a dilemma or a challenge you're facing. But when you learn to trust yourself, you actually empower yourself. And of course, the more you empower yourself, the more you're going to find that you will attract people who are empowered around you. Your vibration attracts your tribe. It really is that simple. So if you're a numpty, you're going to have numpties around you. And I'm sure none of us are numpties, but we all have numpty moments, because I have many numpty moments. But when we can smile at them and appreciate ourselves for all that we are, then we can move through that. So, it's funny how things come about. Like I said, this morning I went shopping, I had a shopping list, because at the moment we all know it's not the greatest thing in the world to go shopping. I said a little prayer, and I sent a little bit of magic, and there were only 3 people in the queue, and I was so grateful. I got back and I thought, I've forgotten the mayonnaise, and I thought, well, I'll try another shop. Now it could be that because that's happened, I'm going to go with trust, that when so, as long as we take care of ourselves and learn to trust ourselves and learn to trust in our intuition, then surely life is going to get better. If any of you want to contradict me, then absolutely, I don't mind, because I'm learning from you too. Anyway, on another note, I wanted to just kind of throw this out there to you. If any of you want me to kind of on maybe discussing past lives, how that works, how the DNA is with our karma from other lives, even if you don't believe in reincarnation, because sometimes they're not past lives, sometimes they're concurrent lives, lives on other dimensions of time and space. I have quite a few autistic children that I've worked with over the years, and they've often said, our life is like a spider's web, but like a 3D, 5D spider's web. It's not like linear, man-made time linear. It isn't at all. So if you want me to do a little talk on that, that's fine. I was also thinking of discussing with you the earth chakras, going through the chakras, the a little bit challenging, because a lot of the stuff is so natural for me, and having to write down stuff that I'm just naturally in flow with and break it down is quite a challenge. So I may well brainstorm and put a post on later, and I'm very open to your ideas. Whatever you want me to put in this book as well. Peter's asked me to put things in there like, why do we need to balance the energy in our house? Why do we need to balance the energy in our chakras? What is black magic? How can we protect ourselves against it? And just to answer that question very quickly, love is your answer. the more you love yourself and the more you keep yourself healthy, you know, but just keep yourself in a bubble of light. Keep your houses light and bright. Keep you light and bright. For those of you that don't know me, I wasn't working with black magic. I was clearing it. I've never worked with black magic, not in this lifetime, that's for sure. So we were just levelling off the black magic and the sabotage that brought to many of the people. You always get the yin and the yang. There's so much light in Bali, and obviously, unfortunately, the light will always attract the dark because it's just quantum physics. But if there's any practical advice that I can give you, if there's any practical advice you want me to kind of put in this book, then for goodness sake, just ask me. But yeah, that's your kind of homework for today in the nicest possible way. Just think about trust and think about forgiveness. Think about trusting your intuition. Think about finishing any projects that you may want to finish. Think about trusting that you can finish them. Just as I can write this book, even though it's a challenge, and I will write the book, but I just have to honour those little steps of bumps in the way of, you know, like the fear or how am I going to do this? I just have to keep doing it. It's just, even if I write, as I said, 1 word a day, when I know normally I can write 1,000 in an hour, it is what it is. So yeah, so I hope I've inspired you. I hope I've enthused you. I hope you have a wonderful day, whatever it is you choose to do. I know many of you have been sending me some really beautiful photographs of your gardens, of the flowers, of the trees, of area surrounding you. My friend Jennifer sent me a gorgeous picture of a tree the other day on her landscape from her house. It's really touched me. So please keep sending the funny videos. Keep yourselves positive. You know, just be aware of how you feel if you start watching the news and you feel a bit crap. You know, just go and have a shake out. Just shake your body off, because that's what happens. The energy goes into the body, because obviously the body is made of light, sound and energy. So just have a shake off. If you're feeling that you are feeling really heavy or really sad, grotty, whatever, have a salt bath. About 4 or 5 tablespoons of Epsom salts in the bath, or Himalayan rock salt, and just get in the bath and let the bath and the salts just clean your energy field, because that's actually what happens. Palo Santo, incense or sage, then I think many of you will know that you can run the smoke of the incense, the Palo Santo or the sage, roughly about 2 or 3 inches. Don't set yourselves on fire, for goodness sake, away from the body, and just go, you know, round the head, round the arms. If you can get somebody to do it for you, that's great. If you can't, you're going to have to do it yourself. Go over the top of the arm, under the arm, down, round the legs, between the legs. And, you know, if you can get somebody to do it for you, it's going to be easier than trying to do your back. But obviously, safety in mind. I am not being responsible for any of you setting yourself on fire or any of you setting your houses on fire. So yeah, I hope that's helped you. So stay inspired. Maybe let me know if you're reading any really good books at the moment. I know a few of you are just coming on now, and I'm really sorry, because I'm actually going to go now because I'm really hungry. I'm ready for my dinner. I was awake at 6:30, so I'm starving. I had breakfast early, and I've been out for a walk already this morning because I've been shopping. So I do hope you have a really, really wonderful day. And for those of you that have got tents and gardens, or beautiful parks, or maybe a beach locally where you can go, enjoy it. Please post your pictures all over Facebook, because it may just cheer up one person's day who maybe doesn't have that luxury. And for those of you who I know, I just send you greetings. For those of you that don't know, I send greetings as well. It's a real joy, a privilege and an honour to do these. As I say, if you really do want me to do them at the weekend as well, I will do, but I'm just conscious that it's good for me to have a break from myself. But equally, just let me know what's right for you. So take care, everybody. Make today a special day, even if it's putting a smile on someone's face, even if it's saying hello, even if it's getting in touch with an old friend. There's so many different ways to do it. Write that letter that you wanted to write. Many of us now, you know, we have many gift cards that we can get. You can get a pack of thank you cards, 10 thank you cards. Even write a thank you card to yourself. It was one of the favourite things when I used to run workshops and things, and I would get the people to write a thank you card to themselves. So maybe I'll leave you with that as homework. But think about the ways you can thank yourself. Think about how you can thank your body, how you can thank your mind, how you can thank your soul. Think about all the things you have achieved, because we're so conditioned to focus on the negative. We just focus on all the crap, and it's nonsense. So just for today, no crappy thoughts, no doom and gloom, no drama karma, and no story. So onwards and upwards, and let's see you fly. Get them wings out, get them feathers dusted off, and enjoy your day. God bless. Bye.